feel like we are all aware of all of the forces and all of the different influences that condition us or program us in ways to be less than we are. That's not new. I feel like it's incredibly courageous to go up against that, because really and when I say against, what I really mean is forward into who we are in the most wonderful and gifting way. It's not really a fight. It's actually just an unveiling, but it feels like it can require a lot of courage and willingness on our part, because it roots into our greatest fears. Being who we truly are, living our truth, actually roots into our greatest fears, which are connected to our need to be accepted and to be loved and to be safe. And we have to be, actually, whether we're in our own home or in our business experience, we have to feel like it's okay to be in our own skin, doing what we're doing. And interestingly, when we repeatedly dim that, especially when we dim our light to keep somebody else comfortable, that actually creates a situation in ourselves where it's really painful to live as what we're doing. The good news is it's actually supposed to be uncomfortable, because you, me, us, we're all
out of that.
Yeah. We're meant to live as what we are. We're really meant to live boldly in the truth of what we are. And there's this leap we have to take in through that courageous step past this is terrifying into, oh, wow, this is so much easier. But we don't get the easy part until we leap. There's nothing ahead of time that goes, guess what? You can feel how easy this is. It really requires the courage. So yeah, that's really what I'm talking about there. And I know people get it, because we all experience it.
Hello, my extraordinary women friends. Today, you are in for a treat as we bring back the extraordinary Christine Laria. Christine is a beautiful soul-led light in our world, and she will be joining us at the 9th Annual Extraordinary Women Ignite Conference being held on November 2nd through 4th. As a gold level sponsor, Christine was a favorite at our 2021 Ignite, and I am so thrilled to have her back with us. Christine's an intuitive coach, a conscientious teacher, a sound healer from the big island of Hawaii, serving clients around the world, including doctors and lawyers and therapists, as well as business coaches and speakers and energy workers. Her energy lights up the souls of all the people she works with. She loves working with people who are passionate about leading others. Her crystal bowls deepen a sense of connection and peace for anyone who gets the beautiful opportunity to experience her work. It's truly magical. And everyone who is at Ignite this year is going to experience Christine multiple times. In her many lifetimes in this one, she has played the roles of mother, grandmother, dancer, dance teacher, classical soprano, published author, university music professor, choral and orchestra conductor, Carnegie Hall soloist, nationally televised CBS Special music director, a coach, a spiritual mentor, a photographer, and a mermaid. Yep, that's our dear Christine, and you are going to love her. Early bird tickets to Ignite are on sale starting this week. If you know now is your time, that there's no more playing small, come join us to spark the connections and fire up some inspiration as we dance through the portal into a brand new world of business, raising up our voices, our vision, and visibility as women building more time prosperity and wealth prosperity in our businesses and life. It's time, my friends. Tickets are on sale at CamiGellner.com/ignite. So jump out and grab your tickets right now while they're in the early bird phase. And now let's meet Christine Laria. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio, Christine. It is so great to have you back on today.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be here. Really good.
Yeah. And I'm super thrilled that you are going to be back with us at Extraordinary Women Ignite in November as our gold sponsor this year. So thank you so much. And I know you just bring so much magic to the room. So I'm really, really super excited that you'll be there.
Thanks, me too. I love your community. It's amazing what you all do and all that you bring, and it's a beautiful space to step into. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks. It is a beautiful space. And if you guys want to make sure you join us there, it's going to be an amazing, amazing event. So make sure you join us. I want to dig right into this topic of, I've heard you talk about how living our truth is both courageous and it's also easier. So it's that
Mm.
dichotomy there, that, right? That
Mhm.
space, that it's both sides of that. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I feel like we are all aware of all of the forces and all of the different influences that condition us or program us in ways to be less than we are. That's not new.
Yeah.
I feel like it's incredibly courageous to go up against that because really
Mm-hmm.
and when I say against, what I really mean is forward into who we are in the most wonderful and gifting way. It's not
Yeah.
really a fight. It's actually just an unveiling, but it feels like it can require a lot of courage and willingness on our part because it roots into our greatest fears. Being who we truly are, living our truth,
Mm,
actually roots into our greatest fears, which are connected to our need to be accepted and to be loved and to be safe.
yeah.
And we have to be, actually, whether we're in our own home or in our business experience, we have to feel like it's okay to be in our own skin, doing what we're
Yeah.
doing. And interestingly, when we repeatedly dim that, especially when we dim our
Mm.
light
Oh my
to keep
gosh.
somebody else comfortable,
Yeah.
that actually creates a situation in ourselves where it's really painful to live as what we're doing. The good news is it's actually supposed to be uncomfortable because you,
Gets us
me,
out
us,
of
we're
that.
all, yeah, we're meant to live as what we are. We're really meant to live boldly in the truth of what we are. And yeah, there's this leap we have to take in through that courageous step
Yeah.
past the this is terrifying into, oh wow, this is so much easier. But we don't get the easy part until we leap. There's nothing
Right.
ahead of time that goes, guess what? You can feel how easy this is. It really requires the courage. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really what I'm talking about there. And I know people get it because we all experience it.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can feel, like, as you're even talking about, kind of shifting into different shapes, like shifting our bodies literally into
Yeah.
different shapes because we are trying to be something versus being ourself.
Yeah. And I've often said it's actually really easy to be what we are, and it's difficult to be what we're not.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself feeling like this is really hard or this is really
Yeah.
uncomfortable, that's your clue. That's
Ooh,
actually your
good.
guide, not your
Good.
problem. It's like going,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Guess what?
Yeah.
There's a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shift. So how do you teach people to do that shift?
Yeah. First of all, I think I teach people how to tune into what's true for them because I think a lot of people don't really know.
I would agree with that. I would totally agree because
It's like,
we
how do
don't
you
think about it, right? We just don't think about it.
No, but you can follow your life. It'll show you. So if you just start paying deeper attention, and what I notice is whatever controls our perception controls our reality. So if we perceive in a new way, we can actually have options that we didn't know we had before. And that begins
Mm.
with really noticing your life. It
Hmm.
literally just begins with like, well, how do I feel about this? How does this feel aligned? Part of the way I teach it is we all know what I might call our vibrational yes is. We know the
Hmm.
thing that just
Yeah. Oh,
makes you
yeah.
feel good. Like for
Let's
you,
go.
you're with your horses or you're out doing your thing or you're coaching a client and you're just like,
Yeah.
that's just
You're
this
just in the
yes.
zone. Hmm.
Yep, we know what yes feels like. We actually all know, regardless of how in tune we feel we may be with our lives, we know what yes feels like. And we know what no feels like. And so, how many times have you been like in the dressing room trying on an outfit and you're trying to talk yourself into it? Because you're like,
Yeah.
no, I think it'll work. And I mean, I kind of like this part. And that's the one that stays in the closet
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
wasn't a full vibrational yes.
So true. I mean, they're so funny. I was there for a while. I was getting Stitch Fix every month, or not every month, every couple of months. I was getting a box of Stitch Fix,
Hmm.
and which was great because I don't like to shop. That's just not my thing. And what I found was I'd get the box and I would totally talk myself into it, and they hang in my closet, and I'm like, finally I stopped it. I was like, okay, this has just got to stop because I keep convincing myself to stay in that. So there's this middle space that we can find ourselves in our businesses, in our lives, all these different places that that we just kind of like hang out in. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
and not really step into a yes or a no. Doesn't serve
Yeah.
us.
No, it doesn't. And it does require courage. I know when I first started bumping up against like claiming my yeses, I mean, it'll, again, it's going to bring up everything that's conditioned us into fitting in, to be accepted, to be loved, to be safe, it's going to bring it all up because even if it's a tiny thing that really there's nothing at risk,
Yeah.
it'll bring it up because it's meant to be brought up because you're ready for the next thing. You're ready to actually live in a bigger way, a deeper
Yeah.
truth that
Yeah.
really feels good. It blesses you and the world.
That's
It's
so good.
whenever we live as ourselves, it's for everybody. It's not just for us because everything benefits when there's that clarity and that alignment and that
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah. So just back on that, when people are finding their truth, what
Hmm.
are some of the first things that we do to find our truth?
When we're finding our truth, one of
Hmm.
the first things that we do is that we notice it's nobody else's. And there's this
Mm.
big process of disentanglement
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
because there's a big part of us that's actually looking for an answer outside of ourselves.
Hmm.
And that's fine. And
Yeah.
we actually all need guidance. I
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
hire the people that I need to guide me or to help me with the things I don't know yet. That's fine. It's nothing wrong with receiving wisdom from others. But we discover we've kind of handed our power away to somebody
Hmm.
else's version of truth.
Hmm.
And so we have to really stop and go, well, is this mine or is this something that I want somebody to give me an answer so that I feel like I get it right and therefore
Yeah.
I'm in control and therefore it'll all work out.
Yeah.
And we have to dig deep into, is that true for us?
Yeah. I
That's
like
really the
that.
first step, is disentangling from handing our truth away.
I like that a lot because and I certainly caught myself doing that over the years.
Oh,
It's like it's just something that we do, and then that we have to come back to that. Is this mine? That's really good advice. Really, really good advice. What are some of the interferences that get in the way of 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 living and loving our truth? Right. I mean, I'm sure this is one of them. Is we're handing it off to somebody else. But what else is there?
yeah. Um, I think one of the biggest interferences is our relationship with ourselves
Mm-hmm.
that isn't fully honoring and loving. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
down to every aspect where you really have everything is loving compassion, everything is a soft space to land, kindness. And we haven't learned that, women in particular, and we get it intellectually. We get it. We're like, yep, self-love's important. Yep, I need to be kind to myself. And we'll frequently meet it with our mind. We meet this deeper thing of not really being fully honoring of ourselves with our mind. And it happens at the same level it's been created. And so we get, in a sense, that interference is just we cancel ourselves out. Nothing really changes. So, in order to remove that interference, we literally have to move to a new vibration that is different than where we created our relationship with ourselves. And we have to somehow, and there's ways that we do that. Of course, we all have ways of shifting that perception and that vibrational state. And we also have to be willing to commit to that self relationship as we would a beloved.
I love it.
The interference is usually our relationship with ourself.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting, and I can see that. I can definitely see that. But I think that's really an interesting insight for
Mm.
sure. So
Mm.
yeah,
And a big one, it's like, and again, we're all smart. Every single person listening to this is so smart, and knows so many things and really is like brilliant and gifted. And so we get it. Again, we're like, yep, I get it. I understand. And that's like barely the beginning in terms of becoming that new way with
yeah,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah. So
And it's
good.
doable. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your journey.
Hmm.
Tell us a bit of the journey that got you to this space. Some of
Mm.
the backstory, and then we'll get into some of the lessons you've learned along the way.
Yeah. Oh, life's such an amazing journey. I feel
Hmm.
really fortunate to have lived, feels like multiple lifetimes in this one. So, um, most of my previous lifetime was as a classical musician, university
Hmm.
professor, conductor, singer. And it was wonderful. And I found myself as part of that teaching voice lessons. And people are amazing. Their voices are amazing. And it's such a powerful part of who they are and how they express in the world. And I found that I could teach technique all day long. But if a person had a certain relationship with themselves, it really didn't matter what the technique was. Same with like business coaching, right?
Totally,
You know this,
totally.
you know, you can give them all the tools. And if they have something in themselves that prevents them from receiving it, so my students would say, well, we call them voice lessons, but with you, they're really life lessons because that's always, we were always working all the aspects. And then eventually I got really, through some deep challenges in my own life, really interested in the consciousness and alternative healing path. And then it all started weaving together like, wow, that's really where my passion is guiding people to live as what they are and actually be free and be like, feel really good as in themselves, as their lives and everything that they bring. And that was really my passion. And I saw that the music had sort of led me perfectly to that awareness.
Yeah.
And so I made a shift. Literally the day before, I got a letter from the dean offering me a permanent contract because I was an adjunct and I was full-time adjunct and it was always kind of like this in the university. And I literally, the day before I committed to this life coaching training program that was all in these realms that I like to work with energy and consciousness. And I thought, wow, if I do this, I'm not going to teach anymore. And then the next day I got the letter and it was like, really? I was like,
It's a test. Yep, it's a test.
yeah. So I made the shift. And then that also led me into working with sound and the beautiful singing bowls. So it was this combination of like every piece that I did of my life professionally and all the things that happened personally that prepared me to guide people the way I do now and then to work with the healing energies. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that journey to the sound piece of the work that you do is so beautiful. You know, that's something I know you'll be bringing to Ignite that I look forward to. And even last time we did a podcast together, you did some, so maybe we'll get a little sound today.
I'd be happy to.
That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. So as you were on this journey of, you know, evolving from teaching to being this guide for people, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in making that transition?
Well, I had to learn everything, you know, I mean, to become an entrepreneur and I had some great teachers along the way and I've done a lot of learning, you know, on my own. What I kept finding was that all of the challenges were preparing me perfectly for the work. I still don't like the challenges when they come, honestly. And this is, again, not a new idea. We all can see how these things that are difficult, like sort of bless us in the thing it becomes. But, you know, for me, there were just the personal challenges around like my son who was an addict and had to be in, you know, locked down rehab twice before he was 16, all this kind of stuff. Eventually he hung himself and he died and then he lived. And then about a year after that, I developed an autoimmune disease. So that was very much related to my relationship with my life and the trauma that had unfolded. Yeah. And that became this like amazing catalyst that actually has functioned both personally and professionally. Because I remember when this doctor says to me, well, you know, you have this disease and you'll have it forever and we can't do anything to get rid of it and your symptoms will get worse over time and we'll try to handle it. And I had this like, not for me. Yeah. No, that is not my story. And so when that very awareness, it was just this like powerful phoenix rising up. I bring that to my business too. So if there's something that I feel like is like, you know, I have no idea, or this doesn't seem doable or possible. And I'll just go, except that it is, you know, there's a way. And what I've learned in that is this tremendous humility. Like, I don't know the way, but I know it's there. Yeah. And that 100% conviction to work with my life, to allow it to like go, okay, where is this going to lead me? What is this going to show me? And then to be 100% available to it and just go, I have no idea. My mind doesn't need to know, but that's where I'm going. Yeah. So that became an incredible blessing and really led me to everything I'm doing now. But it wasn't until talking to you that I realized, oh yeah, but that awareness, it informs so many things. Because what if we all had that about our lives? Like, well, we think we need to know how or see the path in order to say, yes, I can do it. But what if we don't? Yeah. What if we just need to know in our heart that there's a way.
There's a
There just
way.
is.
There's
Yeah.
a way. How do you take care of that journey for yourself, being so present? And what are some of the things that you do? And I see so much of
Mm.
what you do, online and that sort of thing. So I know you do some beautiful self work, but tell us a little bit about some of your practices.
Yeah. It comes down to being so simple. It's so simple and it's like so ancient. And yet to me, I feel it's never more powerful than it is now, which is that my focus is to be completely present as unconditional love.
Mm.
And it's like, yep, okay, great. Well, guess what? That means I get to be unconditional love to the darkness that overtook my son.
Mhm.
It means I get to be completely receptively available to my own pain or my own challenges. It means I get to go bigger and more spacious. And this is really it. And you can kind of feel it. It's like,
Yeah.
here's the thing that's the challenge, or here's the ask that life is bringing me. And my human self is actually too small for it. I know that. My human's great. I love Christine. She's amazing. She's great. I think I'm super grateful. But it's like, it's almost like my little bitty avatar. And then there's this huge presence that we all are, that's love, that's this
Yeah.
capacity for way beyond what our minds can imagine. So my practice is to constantly tune myself to that North Star and to allow it to move through me. And then, so it's like total available and willingness and just letting go, softening, opening, being here now. And then like, and what's my next step? So it's this
Yeah.
combination in my practice of availability and surrender
Mhm.
with absolute conviction and action. It's got to have all of it for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's got to have the action associated
it
with it.
does.
That's balances with it, and it makes me, as I hear you talk about this. I mean, this is often how I'm talking about the shift that we're making and how women are building their businesses, how they're
Hmm.
growing their businesses.
Hmm.
They're letting go of some of the hard lines, and they're really dropping into what are my divine yeses here, and they're listening
Yeah.
so much more deeply with that inner wisdom to make choices in their businesses. And I think this is a new evolution of business that
Hmm.
wasn't here 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-mm.
And it's exciting to me. It's really exciting to me.
I love that you're saying that. I feel like you're pointing at something so wise and true. And you've really just described what's now, I've had to learn more deeply this in my business because I know that that intuitive compass is really strong. I know that
Hmm.
there's a wisdom that moves through. And yet there's a lot of pressure, to do the thing and get the thing done and this and that.
Totally.
And I kept looking at it, Cami. I was like, well, but we need all of it. How do I navigate this? How do
Yeah.
I stay true to this wisdom, this presence, this love? And then like get down to the nitty gritty. And just recently it finally landed more deeply in me, which was, okay, yes, I'm a solo business owner and entrepreneur. I actually have to do the marketing. That's not ever going to go away. The messaging, the strategizing, it doesn't ever stop. Well, you know this.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
in business know this. We don't
Yeah.
ever just go, okay, we're there. We did it.
Yeah.
Now we just ride the wave of our brilliance, which
Right.
I wish we just could. Because
It'd be
honestly,
great.
it's like, but the world is always a new thing. And so we always show up new in it. I mean, even if it just means our next post that we put out or the writing that we do or the video or whatever. And so I finally landed in this space of, okay, I am totally on board with doing all the action because that's how, for everybody, like you and all the beautiful people you work with, they have to find you. They
Yeah.
have to be able to find you and
Yeah.
know who you are. They have to know. So sit in your beautiful wisdom and follow that deeper knowing, and then just keep asking the question. And what does that want to be right now? And that's to
Yeah.
me, that's why I do it. What's the action step with that
Yeah.
now? And then I just like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel inspired. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it is. I
I love
have to,
that.
because sometimes it isn't. What's required is not inspiration. What's
Yeah.
required is my repeated willingness to ask that question, what's next? What's my
Yeah.
next action?
Yeah.
And what I find is if I really tune in, because the space you're talking about, that different way of doing it, I tune in, it'll show me the step.
It
And then
will.
I'm
And the right
willing.
people show up around you, and I mean,
Yeah.
but we can't hide. And I think that is a
No.
concept that sometimes people, it's like, I'm just going to go do my thing, and
Hmm.
people just automatically find me, and we can't hide. We have to be in our light and let that presence that you were talking about and really step into that, to grow with that.
And you're so good at that, and you teach people that so well, which is get out there and say your thing and be what
Mm.
you are. And that's that we're back to that first place we started. What's this courage that's required?
Yeah, yeah. And the other
Yeah.
part, kind of going back to where we first started also, is the feedback from others and how we should do things. And really going back to that truth of what's my truth for how I do this, right? And that's, I think, the dance that we find ourselves in. I mean, I can think of even in the last month where I was like, is that mine or is that somebody else's? And so I think it's all of these pieces together is such an interesting exploration for us as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and nobody can do what you do.
Yeah,
Nobody.
exactly.
Nobody can,
Every
nobody.
single person is so unique in what
Yeah.
they're bringing. And that's the beauty of it.
So that's that piece of loving that. I mean, we were talking about living the truth and loving the truth. It's like, well, what's your relationship then actually with your gifts, with your skill set, which is going to have its strengths and its weaknesses. You're going to have the parts that you do really naturally and well, and you're going to have the parts that are like, wow, I actually need to do this and I have to work hard at it. I actually have to learn and I have to practice and I have to do this thing. How deeply can you love?
Yeah.
Like, see, it's this, like, what if you loved, what if, again, it's the unconditional love thing. What if you loved the parts that you're not good at? Like as deeply
Mm.
and celebratorily, like, oh my gosh, I am so lousy at being linear and like planning in okay, this cue and that cue and all the cues are dancing around in the sky. And I'm like, and I'm like, I'm really not linear. Oh, and what if I could just go, oh, I just think that's amazing about me. I'm so not linear. And it
Oh my
really is like,
gosh.
I have to work at it. And I greet it with the same celebration because what? It's just here. It's just true. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean I'm a good or bad person. It's actually just, well, I'm not ever going to play basketball like Michael Jordan because I'm not 6.5 feet tall and built that way. Okay.
I'm
I
just
can
gonna
love
love that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So what if we're just like just ridiculously generous and celebratory about our limitations, quote. Because
Yeah.
then we're just like, okay, it's just kind of matter of fact. Yep, that's
Yeah.
true. What do I
Yeah.
do now? What's my choice?
Yeah. I love it. I so love it. And because it's approaching it from that energy changes everything.
It does.
Versus being in the stickiness of I don't like this, I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. There's playfulness in that, and there's lightness to it. So it's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Okay, so let's keep talking here. What is one thing that you've accomplished that is most significant to you, and why is that?
Yeah. It's I think I feel I'm on a theme here. Is actually I think it's about living as an unconditionally loving space inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I think one of my greatest accomplishments that's impacted my business, my work, my clients is the complete cessation of the inner critic.
Mm.
That
That's
there's
what a
not.
brilliant thing. Because was that always? I mean, you actually had to go
Oh,
there.
never the case. I was
Yeah.
the worst. I
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that relationship is abusive, and
Yeah.
we tolerate it inside of our heads. And again, we know this, but people are like, yeah, but it's just what happens, or I'll tell myself nice things. I feel it requires a deeper dive than that because it's
Yeah.
worth it and it changes everything. Because when we live, that's how we love our truth. That's how we live our truth because it's what we are. We're
Mm-hmm.
actually, I think, we are at our core, we are love. And when we live that, there's that much more of that for us. And there's that much more of it for the world. And
Yeah.
everybody benefits. And I
Yeah.
don't know why. I do know why, but the why doesn't matter. Why there is so much tolerance of inner abuse inside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when it stops, just like if somebody finally is, how it is, like if a woman's in, say, a battered relationship, she doesn't have the self-esteem hardly to get herself out of it.
Right.
But once that moment of grace comes and she does, then her whole world changes. There's the
Right.
opportunity for all the healing.
Yep.
We're so used to it. And I always say, if judgment were going to work, it would have worked by now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing I would say that's been my greatest accomplishment because I actually really worked at it. I made it a constant and loving devotion until
What
it
did
was
that look
complete.
like? I mean, what did that look like when you made it that
Yeah,
constant?
that it started with everyday mirror work, actually,
Mm,
where I would go and I would summon. Okay, so there's these two voices happening. There's the part of you that's criticizing yourself, and there's the part of you that's receiving it.
yeah.
And
Oh,
that part's getting
interesting.
beat up all the time.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
this is what I mean about the relationship we live inside of ourselves as the
Hmm.
most important one.
Yeah.
And we're delivering the abuse and we're receiving the abuse all in one. And I use that word intentionally because it's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I started by talking to what I called my little one, and I committed to showing up to talk with her 5 minutes every single day in the mirror, every single day. If you
Five
don't want to do it, if
minutes.
you're not going to do it, 5 minutes. Don't say you will, because then you're just abandoning the one that you said you were going to be there for. Don't do it. If you can do it once in your life, do it once in your life, but don't commit to something you can't do. So I committed, and I'd show up and I'd say, "Hey, little one, how you doing?" She would be like, because I'd been so mean to myself. She was like, and I was like, "How are you? Why would I talk to you? I do everything I can. I try so hard, and the only thing you ever do is you're mean to me. Why would I talk to you?"
Mm.
And I was like, okay, you're right. So I started repairing that relationship. I did it again. I'm going to say not from mind to mind, tapping into this larger, spacious presence, into my heart, into what's real for all of us. That's what spoke to her, something bigger than what I had been before.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. And then I also did, I think it's a 12-step technique. I did a lot of Al-Anon Duda things in my life. And it's an act as if. So I would be loving to myself in my dialogue. If I started down the mean road, I would go, I'm sorry, that voice is not allowed here anymore. And I would go, I think you're amazing. And I would be like, yeah, I really don't believe that. I was like, who are you? Yeah, I don't even know who you are. But I stayed with it.
Yeah.
And so I repaired the relationship with the little one inside of me that had borne the abuse. And I started a new relationship. And one day I'm doing a public performance. I have a memory slip. It's like I'm a faculty recital and my students are all there. And I didn't even never have memory slips, but I did. And it was horrible and awkward. And I'm like on the stage. And then finally I figure out where I am. And in this voice automatically comes and goes, "You're amazing. I love you." And I was like, and it happened in real time like that.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I had really shifted.
You broke through that
Yeah.
noise that was there.
It was the most natural response in the midst of any situation to be a space of loving kindness, generosity, and compassion.
So what I'm hearing here it was consistent daily follow through with yourself and catching yourself in the moment, shifting that conversation back to love and doing that consistently. For how long did that take?
You know, I actually stayed with that for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Because
but
those are big habits to break, right?
I know, it's like, how many decades had I been doing it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this was probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And of course, everything from there in my life changed. One thing that happened was I just like the world started loving on me all the time. Like people were so generous and they're so loving and so supportive. I'm like, what is going on? But of course, it's what I was doing inside myself. And we all know about the mirror effect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Yeah. And there were deeper pieces because I had deeper reparation to do with where I had been unloved by others that I really needed love from. I mean, it led to all the pieces, but that was that core work. Yeah. And it's possible, but I mean, I was really devoted. It mattered to me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. It's so good. Okay. What's the easiest and fastest way to get to get your mind to quiet and relax?
Well, you probably know my answer. I find it to be sound.
Yeah.
I do. I find those crystalline vibrations, and there's the science behind it. I mean, they literally entrain our brain into alpha, theta, and even delta states. And those are those places of peace and relaxation and meditation and inspiration, actually.
Yeah.
So it's quick. It's easy.
You feel it in your body. It resonates in your body, right?
We are vibration. We truly are. I mean, it's everything is. And so we meet it with a vibration that lets the nervous system calm.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing that you and I are talking about, this relationship with ourselves, where does it live?
In our
It
body.
lives in our head, it's
Yeah.
in our minds.
Oh, in our minds here, right? Versus,
Right. I
yeah.
mean, it lives inside of us in all of our body, but I feel like it's primarily it's like this dialogue happening,
Yeah. Yeah.
voice to voice up here in our head. Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. So when we bring in sound and it just kind of goes, I had
Kind
a
of
client
washes it
tell me,
away.
yeah, she said, Christine, this is the first time in my entire life my mind's been quiet. She was in her
Mm.
mid 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. 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 Okay. Let's talk about Ignite. What will you be bringing to us at Ignite?
Yeah, I want to bring at Ignite, I want to bring actually both some information, some energy, and some guidance for people to really feel empowered in themselves, in their
Yeah.
truth, in
Yeah.
in actually shifting wherever that relationship with themselves is asking for that loving shift. What can we get accomplished in that, in some minutes that's real and lasting that you get to take away and gives you
Mm.
a your own. I don't do so much like a roadmap as I do like a navigational guide. Like you get to take those practices, this awareness that you come out with, and put it to practice in your life so that you can have a different experience of
Yeah.
your whole world. I mean, that's really my goal. Like I'm like, let's not take 12 lifetimes. Why not do it in half an hour, Kimmy?
I like that. Totally like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
So
totally like
that's
that.
that's my that's my hope and my knowing, and yeah, all the things that are possible because it's all within us. I don't think there's anything really that we discover that somebody does need to give us from the outside. It's more like an unveiling of who we are. So
Yeah.
how much of our own inner brilliance and truth and radiance and love and light can we unveil together so that we receive it and so does the world?
So good. So good. So in the meantime, where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at christinelaria.com.
Uh-huh.
I usually have a free like community event that gives a bunch of, it'll have energy and teaching and some sound. You can sign up for that. Also, the bowls are all available at Laria Crystal Sound.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your bowls are just so special. They're so special.
Mm.
I can't wait to just be in their energy.
They like it too. They're like, oh, we got to go see people.
We gotta go travel.
They like it for sure.
Oh, that's so good. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Okay, as you know, we always close with 3 pearls of wisdom. So we'll do the 3 pearls of wisdom, and then I'll give you a little space to do something with the bowl.
3 pearls of wisdom. They feel like they're coming in the forms of questions today.
I like it.
What is currently in front of you in your life that might be asking to be your guide instead of your problem?
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's a
There's
powerful one.
one. Hmm. Hmm. What would happen if you followed your joy moment by moment?
I know I'm
And
going to be journaling on this weekend. All of your questions.
because it feels like this is the way I love to work is like to let people's wisdom guide them. I feel like you're always the master you're seeking. So it's like, what can I point you to in yourself? And that's really where the third question is going, which is, what magnificence is within you that you have not yet recognized? And I want to point the pearl with this goes, clues are in, again, what you love and what lights you up. And it's, what if it's pointing you to something inside of yourself so powerful that you've, as of yet, thought that's that thing out there that I love? What if that thing out there that you love experiencing, doing, whatever, is actually pointing you at the very, that quality within you that's asking to come forward in a new way?
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it. I love it.
Thanks for that.
You bet. Thank you. Like I said, I'm going to be getting my journal out on those this weekend. So good.
So fun.
Okay. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
This sweetie wanted to come be with us. It's interesting. A lot of times I'll bring a set, but this one was like, this is the bowl that's being asked for whoever's listening to this. So it's what we call a practitioner, meaning it has a handle. And its alchemy is green heart, aura gold with platinum. And the green heart alchemy is really all about opening up the wisdom of your heart and of really firing up that as the lead in your life. And the note is an E, which is for the solar plexus, which is that center of our self-esteem and our personal empowerment and where all that life juice comes from. So it's connecting your incredible power through your heart right into your human self of who you are for that to be able to go out in the world. So she wanted to sing for you, and here we go. Oh, it's good to be you. All of you. Good to be here now. Clear now. Free to be. Let your wings unfurl. Let your magic fly. The heart within you already knows the sky, knows how to fly. It's good to be here now, you now, clear now. You fly. Just a little bit of wings to send everybody on their way.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I know that. Oh, we got a little echo going here.
That's probably the bowl. There we go.
There we go. I know that all of the Ignite alumni are going to be so excited that you're back, and those who are new to Ignite are going to get to experience your beautiful gifts this November. So I'm so excited to see you, and thank you for blessing us with such a great conversation today, and all of your stories and all that you know, just your wisdom that you're bringing into the world. You're a beautiful soul, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, and so honored to partner with you and share in all the magical creation of that event. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to giving you a big hug when you're here.
Same.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, love. You're welcome. Bye-bye.